In the far reaches of the galaxy, where stars glittered like scattered jewels against the black velvet of space, the Zalari fleet moved silently. Their ships were elegant, sleek, and fragile-looking, a testament to a civilization that had long relied on intelligence and technology rather than brute strength. The commander, Vale, stood on the bridge of the lead ship, gazing at the stars through the wide viewport. His antennae twitched slightly as he processed the data streams flooding the console. A soft chime interrupted the hum of the engines. On the communications panel, a new signal blinked insistently. It was weak, distorted, and yet unmistakable. Commander Vale, a young officer said, her voice careful, almost hesitant. "We are receiving an SOS from the system Gamma 7. The signal is old but persistent. It indicates extreme distress." Vale straightened. His eyes narrowed. "Show me the details." The officer adjusted the display and the bridge lights dimmed to allow the signal readings to come into focus. A tiny blue planet hovered on the screen, its surface mottled with violent storms and strange energy readings that the sensors could barely penetrate. "Gamma 7? Vile repeated, frowning. "This system has no known civilizations. It is isolated, dangerous, almost uninhabitable." "That is correct, sir," the officer replied. "No prior exploration has been successful. The last probes never returned. But this signal, it is biological in nature. There are signatures that suggest a sentient species is alive, trying to communicate." Vale leaned forward, resting his hands on the console. "Alive, yes, but why now? And why only this weak distress call?" He paused, scanning the surrounding fleet. "We cannot ignore it. The Zalari have a duty to assist any species in need. Prepare the fleet. We investigate." Murmurs spread across the bridge. Some officers looked uneasy. The Zalari were not warriors. They had perfected their technology, their starships, and their knowledge of the cosmos, but they were not prepared for combat. Their weapons were minimal, intended for defense, not war. Most feared what lay beyond the known regions of space. "Commander, with all due respect," another officer began. "This could be a trap. We have never encountered anything like the readings from that system. It may be a lure." Vale shook his head. "Or it could be a species desperate for help. If we turn away now, we betray our principles. We are explorers, scientists, and diplomats. Our duty is to life itself." The fleet began its course toward Gamma 7. Ships glided silently, engines glowing faintly, casting long reflections across the black. For hours they traveled in tense quiet, each Zalari officer wondering what awaited them. Far below, on the surface of the planet, another story unfolded. The planet was harsh. Storms raged without warning, and the terrain was jagged and unforgiving. Temperatures swung from unbearable heat to freezing cold within hours. Life here was raw and violent. Yet among the jagged mountains and deep valleys, humans had made a home. A small settlement clung to the edge of a plateau. Its walls were reinforced with stone and metal scavenged from wreckage, and towers rose to watch the horizon. Humans moved with purpose, every action deliberate and efficient. They were strong, resilient, and unyielding, a stark contrast to the fragile Zalari fleet heading toward them. In the command center of the human settlement, Captain Mara studied the horizon. Dark clouds churned overhead, carrying lightning that danced like silver knives. Below, the settlement buzzed with activity. Humans moved in coordinated patterns, securing equipment, reinforcing barriers, and tending to wounded colonists. The SOS had been sent not out of panic but necessity. Mara's communicator crackled. "Scout Team 2 reporting," a voice said. "Storm approaching faster than predicted. Northern Ridge may be unsafe. Evacuation recommended." Mara's brow furrowed. "Acknowledged. Reinforce the perimeter and prepare emergency shelters. We survive or we adapt. There is no other option." As the storm intensified, the human colony became a hive of organized chaos. Lightning struck the mountains, sending rocks tumbling down slopes. Wind tore at the walls and roofs, but humans moved calmly, each aware of their role, each trusting the other. The planet tested them every day, and they had learned to endure. Back in space, the Zalari fleet detected turbulence in Gamma 7's atmosphere. Sensors showed massive energy fluctuations strong enough to interfere with communications. "Commander Vale," an officer said, "the storm on the planet is unusually intense. It may be the cause of the distress signal. But these energy readings, they are unlike anything we have encountered." Vale studied the screen. The blue planet looked beautiful from afar, a fragile gem spinning in chaos. "Prepare a shuttle. We will investigate directly. This storm may be a natural phenomenon, or it may be a sign of something else entirely. A shuttle detached from the fleet, its smooth hull gleaming under the distant sun. Inside, Vale and a small team of Zalari scientists and diplomats prepared for descent. None spoke much, each lost in thought. The atmosphere outside was violent, unpredictable. Survival was not guaranteed. The shuttle plunged into the planet's upper atmosphere. Lightning struck close, illuminating jagged peaks and churning clouds. Sensors blinked warnings, but the craft remained steady. The crew felt the violent winds buffet them, but their advanced stabilization systems held firm. As they broke through the upper storm layers, a sight both terrifying and awe-inspiring appeared. The human settlement sprawled across the plateau, a network of walls, towers, and barricades. Humans moved swiftly, their actions precise, as if the storm itself was a tool they could control. Vial exhaled through his breathing apparatus. "This is unexpected," he said. "They are adapted." The shuttle touched down with a soft thud. Humans immediately approached, armed but not hostile. Their eyes were sharp, observing, calculating. Mara stepped forward, her posture rigid, radiating authority. "You are far from your space lanes," she said in clear, confident tones. "Identify yourselves." Vial raised his hands, palms outward, a gesture of peace. "We are the Zalari. We received your distress signal. We come to offer assistance." Mara's eyes narrowed slightly, suspicion clear. "Why now? Why send for help after all these years? And why should we trust you?" Vial hesitated. "Because life is precious. Because no being should face annihilation alone. Because we have a duty to help." Mara studied him for a long moment. Then, with a nod, she signaled her team to lower their weapons. "Follow me. But be warned, our world does not yield easily. You may not survive long if you are unprepared." The shuttle crew exchanged glances. Vial nodded. "We will adapt as best we can." As the Zalari followed Mara into the heart of the settlement, they noticed the small but crucial details of life here. Energy barriers hummed faintly, protecting vital areas. Humans were everywhere, repairing, securing, planning. Their resilience was not just physical but mental, a strength that seemed to radiate from every individual. One human engineer noticed the Zalari watching. He smiled faintly. "You'll need to keep your minds sharp here," he said. "The planet doesn't forgive mistakes." Vial nodded, a mixture of admiration and unease in his gaze. "We have much to learn." That night, as storms raged and lightning painted the sky in violent streaks, the Zalari observed the humans in action. They repaired damage, tended to the wounded, and coordinated defenses, all while facing the raw fury of the planet. Vial felt a strange mix of fear and respect. These humans were unlike any species he had ever encountered. They were strong, fearless, and entirely capable of surviving where others would perish. In the distance, a faint pulse of light flickered across the sky. Vial's sensors picked it up immediately. "Another signal," he murmured. "Something is approaching. Something. Not from this world." Mara glanced at him, eyes narrowing. "Then the challenge begins. Welcome to Gamma 7. The shuttle remained steady, anchored to the ground. The Zalari had arrived. Answering an SOS they thought would be simple. Yet, in that instant, both species understood that survival here would be no simple task. They were on a death world, and the true test of courage, ingenuity, and endurance had only just begun. And far above, in the dark reaches of space, something stirred, a predator vast and calculating, observing the fragile settlement. It had noticed the arrival of the Zalari, and for the first time humans would not face their greatest threat alone. But that realization was still far in the future. For now the Zalari and the humans simply watched the storm rage, each learning to respect the other's strengths, each unaware of the larger battles that awaited them. The SOS had been sent. Help had arrived. But in the wild, unforgiving world of Gamma 7, survival was never guaranteed. The morning on Gamma 7 was not gentle. Lightning cracked across the jagged mountains, sending flares of energy that reflected off jagged rocks. Heavy winds tore through the settlement, carrying stinging dust and debris. The Zalari shuttle had landed safely, but the storm made every step forward a challenge. Commander Vial and his team followed Captain Mara along the main pathways of the settlement. The humans moved like living machines, each person executing precise tasks, reinforcing walls, monitoring energy shields, and tending to others who were injured or exhausted. Vial's sensors struggled to keep up with the human movements. He had studied many civilizations before, but none showed this level of coordination under extreme conditions. "They are remarkable," whispered one of the Zalari scientists, bending slightly to avoid a gust of wind that nearly knocked him off balance. "They are built for survival in ways we never imagined." Vial did not respond immediately. His antennae twitched as he observed the humans, noting their confidence, their focus, and the subtle way they communicated without words. "Adaptation is survival," he murmured. "They have lived on this planet for generations. Their strength comes from necessity, not from technology alone." Mara led them to a central command tower, the heart of the human settlement. From there, they could see the full scale of Gamma 7's challenges. The storm was only one of many dangers. Giant cliffs loomed dangerously close. Rivers of molten lava ran near the edges of valleys, and alien wildlife stirred within the mountains. These creatures were massive, swift, and aggressive, and the humans had learned to navigate the terrain without falling prey. "Your species has sent help before?" Mara asked, her voice calm but direct as they ascended to the top of the tower. Vale shook his head. "We have assisted civilizations under distress, but none quite like this. Gamma 7 is unusual. The danger is constant, yet your species thrives." Mara's gaze hardened. "Thrive or survive, it makes little difference. Here, weakness is quickly punished. You will see, even as you stand on solid ground, that life here demands perfection." A sudden roar cut through the wind. A massive shadow swept across the settlement. The Zalari looked up, their eyes widening in unison. A creature, enormous and sinewy, with claws long enough to tear through walls, leaped between the mountains and the lower cliffs. Its eyes glowed faintly, and its movements were precise, calculated as if it were aware of every human around it. Mara did not flinch. "Get to your positions," she shouted, and the humans moved with synchronized speed, directing energy shields and barricades into place. The Zalari, unprepared for such an immediate threat, froze. Vial realized the creature was testing them, probing the defenses. The humans had already anticipated this. They set traps along the cliffs, triggered hidden mechanisms, and fired harpoons with explosive tips that forced the predator to retreat. The Zalari could only watch, amazed. "They are warriors," muttered one scientist. "Not in the way we imagine combat, but in every action, every decision. They are ready for battle." Mara noticed Vial's astonishment and gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. "Every day is battle here. You must understand, this is not a world where mistakes are forgiven." The storm continued, but the humans maintained their composure. Vale realized that the SOS had not been a simple call for help. It was a signal from a civilization capable of surviving impossible odds. Their weakness had been a test for anyone who answered. The Zalari had arrived unprepared for the reality of a death world. In the hours that followed, the Zalari explored the settlement. They saw families working together to repair machinery, children learning to navigate treacherous terrain, and elders instructing younger humans in combat techniques and survival strategies. Val watched quietly, taking notes, feeling both admiration and unease. One human approached him directly, a young engineer named Darren. "You look out of place," he said bluntly. "Do you know what it means to survive here? To adapt or die?" Vile inclined his head. "We have adapted in our own ways, but we have never faced a planet such as this. Your resilience is extraordinary." Darren grinned slightly. "Extraordinary? Maybe. Or maybe we're just used to losing people if we do the wrong thing. Survival isn't extraordinary. It's necessary." Vile realized that what humans called necessary was something the Zalari had only encountered in simulations or theoretical studies. On Gamma 7, it was reality. Life was raw, brutal, and demanding, but humans had mastered it. As night fell, the storm calmed, leaving the settlement bathed in eerie light from the alien moons above. Vial and his team were invited to observe the humans' nightly routines. Unlike the Zalari, who valued rest and routine, humans stayed alert. Guards patrolled the perimeter. Engineers checked for weaknesses in the walls, and scouts monitored the skies. Even in rest, they were prepared. Vale sat quietly, taking in the scene. "They are not just survivors," he whispered to his deputy. "They are the ultimate challenge for any predator or threat. They fight not just with weapons, but with every instinct, every skill they have. They are Deathworlders." The next morning, the Zalari fleet in orbit detected unusual energy readings near the planet. Sensors indicated movement in the surrounding space. a large object, massive and unlike anything recorded in the Zalari database. Vial activated his communication link. Mara, we are detecting a presence in orbit. Unknown origin, large scale. What can you tell us? Mara frowned. It seems we are not alone. But it is not a friendly visitor. Prepare yourself. You will see why our defenses are necessary. From the viewing screens, the Zalari could see enormous ships descending from hyperspace, their hulls dark and jagged, almost organic in design. Their presence caused the atmosphere to shimmer unnaturally. The Zalari had never seen technology like this before, and even their advanced sensors struggled to analyze it. Darren stood beside Vial. You see? We live in a galaxy where danger is constant, and now you will understand why we have walls, weapons, and instincts that you might think excessive. Vial nodded, his mind racing. We believed the SOS would bring a fragile species to our help. Instead, it has brought us to a civilization capable of surviving threats we cannot yet imagine. And now even here, danger approaches. Mara took command of the settlement, moving her forces into formation. Humans ran drills, set traps along the cliffs, and positioned energy barriers along vulnerable points. Vial observed how quickly humans could organize, adapt, and execute plans in a matter of minutes. It is remarkable, whispered the Zalari scientist again. They are fearsome not because they are violent, but because they are capable. Mara overheard and said softly, You will learn that survival is not about fear. It is about skill, teamwork, and the will to endure. Here we do not ask for mercy. We earn our lives every day. Val realized that the humans' SOS had been more than a call for help. It was a signal to the galaxy that life could survive in ways that defied logic. That intelligence alone was not always the key to survival. Sometimes it was sheer courage, adaptability, and determination. As the sun set over Gamma 7, casting long shadows across jagged cliffs and fortified walls, Vial made a decision. We will assist them, not because they are weak, but because they are strong in ways we are only beginning to understand. The galaxy must learn that strength takes many forms. In the darkness beyond the settlement, sensors picked up movement again. Smaller predator creatures skittered across the cliffs, drawn by the presence of new arrivals. Humans moved swiftly, intercepting them with nets, traps, and precise weaponry. The Zalari were both horrified and impressed. For the first time, Vial felt a spark of understanding. Humans were not only survivors, they were warriors, explorers, and teachers all in one. If the galaxy underestimated them, it would do so at its own peril. The night passed, filled with the hum of energy shields, distant roars of predators, and the quiet determination of humans protecting their home. The Zalari slept lightly, knowing that tomorrow would bring more challenges. Vial looked out at the storm-tossed horizon. The SOS brought us here, he whispered. But the planet, the humans, they will teach us something far greater. Adaptability, courage, and the will to endure. This is the truth of Gamma 7, and we are only beginning to understand it. Somewhere in the shadows, the Predator fleet in orbit continued to observe. It had detected the humans' defenses and the arrival of the Zalari fleet. It would soon realize that this planet was far more dangerous than it anticipated. And for the first time, Vial understood the real meaning of the SOS. A warning, a test, and an invitation all at once. The Zalari had arrived. The humans had waited, and the Deathworld had already begun to reveal its lessons. The morning light barely pierced the thick clouds of Gamma 7, casting a dim glow across the jagged cliffs and turbulent valleys. The Zalari had spent their first night in uneasy wonder, observing humans as they prepared for the daily challenges of survival. But today, they would witness something far more revealing: the humans in combat. A series of sensor alerts on the Zalari shuttle caught Vale's attention. Commander, movement detected at the northern ridge. Large creatures, multiple signatures, the officer reported, her antennae quivering. Vale nodded. Prepare to observe, but maintain distance. I want to see their methods first. Mara gathered her squad quickly, issuing orders with calm precision. Humans moved like shadows, silent but deliberate, setting traps, coordinating patrols, and placing energy beacons. Vial and the Zalari followed discreetly, impressed by the efficiency of their movements. The predators emerged suddenly from the cliffs, hulking, sinewy creatures with glowing eyes and claws sharp enough to tear through metal. They were faster than anything Vale had seen, moving with terrifying coordination as if the planet itself had shaped them into perfect hunters. Mara raised a hand. "Engage," she said. The humans struck instantly. They didn't charge recklessly. Instead, they drew the creatures into preset traps. Nets woven from reinforced fibers shot out to entangle the legs of the predators. Explosive harpoons detonated with precise timing, forcing the creatures back without harming the surrounding terrain. Vile watched astonished as humans adapted in real time to the predators' attacks, anticipating their moves and adjusting strategies instantly. "This is incredible," whispered one of the Zalari scientists. "They are thinking faster than the predators can react." Vile's attention focused on Captain Mara. She moved with uncanny speed, directing her team, engaging in combat when necessary, but always calculating risk. Every move was deliberate, each action designed to maximize effectiveness while minimizing loss. A predator lunged toward Mara, claws extended, eyes burning with aggression. Before Vale could react, Mara had sidestepped, flipped a small lever, and triggered a hidden energy net that slammed down over the creature. It thrashed violently but could not escape. The humans did not hesitate. They subdued it quickly, using coordinated strikes to immobilize it safely. Vale's antennae twitched in disbelief. "They are not just surviving," he muttered. "They are mastering the battlefield." The battle continued for hours. Zalari sensors recorded every detail, noting how humans exploited the terrain, anticipated predator patterns, and communicated silently. Humans did not panic. Even when a creature appeared in unexpected directions, they adapted immediately, turning danger into opportunity. Darren, the young engineer from the settlement, approached Vile briefly. "Impressive, isn't it?" he said, gesturing to the battlefield. "You think you are observing, but you are learning. Survival here isn't about strength alone. It is about speed, wit, and adaptation." Vile inclined his head. "Your species has trained for generations under impossible conditions. I underestimated the depth of your skills." Darren smiled faintly. "You will find that there is always more to learn. Every day teaches a lesson. Sometimes it is subtle, sometimes brutal." By midday, the battle had shifted toward the cliffs where predators attempted to flank the humans. Mara directed squads to reinforce positions and lay traps along the approach routes. They moved with flawless coordination. Vile realized that humans had an instinctive understanding of the terrain that the Zalari, with all their technology, could not replicate. A massive predator emerged at the cliff's edge, roaring with strength that shook the ground. Mara did not flinch. She signaled to a squad hidden among the rocks. They dropped weighted nets, pinning the creature in place. Meanwhile, others launched grappling hooks to pull it off balance. The predator struggled but ultimately fell, its momentum used against it by the humans' clever tactics. Vale's mind raced. The humans were not relying on weapons alone. They were using the environment, physics, and strategy to dominate threats far larger than themselves. They were true Deathworlders, species honed by extreme conditions to become exceptional in ways the galaxy rarely saw. The Zalari team tried to assist by scanning for additional threats and providing strategic advice. But they quickly realized that in the close, chaotic combat, their sensors and weapons were almost useless. Humans could see opportunities and react in ways that technology could not predict. The Zalari had arrived thinking they would lead. Instead, they were witnessing a new kind of mastery. Mara moved to a ridge and signaled Vale and the Zalari team. "You want to help? Follow my lead and stay alert. Observe the rules and act only when instructed. One wrong move can be fatal here." Vale nodded, swallowing unease. "Understood." The rest of the battle was a mix of controlled chaos. Humans guided the predators into preset traps, lured them away from settlement areas, and neutralized threats with minimal casualties. Zalari technology helped in monitoring predator movements, but the humans' intuition led every maneuver. By evening, the predators had been repelled, retreating into the mountains. The humans regrouped, tending to injuries, repairing damage, and debriefing with meticulous attention. Mara approached Vale. "You saw it," she said simply. "Our world is harsh. We adapt or we die. There is no other choice." Vale nodded, feeling a profound respect. "Your people, your species. You are unlike anything the galaxy expects. I underestimated the reality of your strength. You are warriors in the truest sense." Mara's expression softened slightly. "We survive, Commander. That is all that matters. Strength is measured not by size or technology, but by the ability to endure and respond to every challenge." The Zalari scientists were visibly shaken. One approached Mara cautiously. "Your adaptation, your coordination, it defies explanation. We have studied many species, but none demonstrate such instinctive mastery of survival under extreme conditions." Mara gave a small nod. "It is learned over generations, and it is demanded by the planet. Gamma 7 does not forgive weakness." Vile realized that the SOS the Zalari had responded to was not just a call for help. It had been a test. The humans' apparent need had been only a part of the message. The true signal was a demonstration of the species' resilience. Any who responded would see the reality of life on a death world. Danger is constant, survival is a skill, and strength is defined by adaptability and courage. As the sun set over jagged cliffs, the Zalari team gathered with the humans in the settlement's central hall. Mara addressed them, her voice firm. "You observed today. You saw our world in action. You saw what it means to survive here. Do not mistake our need for help as weakness. We are strong because we must be, and if you wish to stay, you will learn this as well." Vale stepped forward, his voice steady but filled with admiration. "We came expecting to aid a fragile civilization. Instead, we have witnessed excellence. Your strength, your strategy, and your courage are unmatched. The Zalari fleet will learn from you, and we will stand with you in whatever comes next." The humans exchanged glances, some skeptical, some approving. Mara nodded. "We will see if you can keep up. Survival here is not a lesson that ends easily." Night fell, and the settlement settled into cautious routines. Patrols continued, traps were reset, and scouts monitored the horizon. Vile and the Zalari team observed from the command tower, noting every detail. They had seen humans in combat, and the lesson was clear. Strength is not only measured by firepower or numbers, but by skill, adaptability, and sheer will. In the distance, in the dark reaches of orbit, the Predator fleet continued to approach. They had noticed the humans and the Zalari. They had sensed the battle below and realized the presence of a species that could challenge them. But they underestimated the humans' abilities, and they were about to learn that underestimating a Deathworlder species could be fatal. Wael looked out across the storm-tossed cliffs and valleys. "The SOS was real," he said softly, "but the answer was far greater than we imagined. Humans are not just survivors. They are warriors, strategists, and teachers, and soon the galaxy will know it too." The Zalari had arrived expecting fragility and fear. Instead, they had discovered courage, strength, and unparalleled adaptability. Gamma 7 was a death world, but the humans were its true masters. And above, in the darkness of space, a shadow stirred, sensing the challenge ahead. The true test of the Zalari and humans had not yet begun, but the lessons of survival, strategy, and courage had already been written in the storm-swept valleys of Gamma 7. Tomorrow would bring new threats, new battles, and new tests. But for now, humans and Zalari alike understood one simple truth. On a death world, only the prepared and the adaptable survive, and these humans were the ultimate example. The sky above Gamma 7 remained heavy with clouds, streaked with lightning and shadowed by the looming shapes of massive predators circling the planet. The humans moved through the settlement with practiced efficiency, repairing defenses, coordinating patrols, and maintaining watch over the cliffs. The Zalari fleet hovered in orbit, its sleek ships gleaming faintly against the storm-darkened horizon. Commander Vael gathered his team on the bridge of the lead Zalari ship. The screens displayed unusual energy readings unlike anything they had encountered before. The Predator fleet, massive and imposing, was closing in. Their movement was deliberate, intelligent, and coordinated. "This is no ordinary Predator," Vael said, antennae twitching with concern. "They are organized. They know we are here, and they are powerful." A young officer responded, her voice tinged with fear. "Commander, our fleet alone cannot face them. Our weapons are defensive." "The humans," Vael's eyes narrowed. "The humans are already here. We cannot face this threat without them. We must form an alliance. Whether we trust them or not, their skills are critical for survival." Meanwhile, on the ground, Captain Mara surveyed her settlement. Scouts reported the approach of massive ships, dark silhouettes against the stormy sky. Mara's mind moved quickly, calculating strategies, predicting predator maneuvers, and preparing her people. Vael and Mara met in the command hall of the settlement, a structure reinforced to withstand storms and predator attacks. The humans eyed the Zalari warily, understanding that their technology could provide advantages, but also aware that their unfamiliarity with combat could be a liability. "We must work together," Vale said plainly. "Your planet is under threat, and our fleet alone cannot defend it. We need your expertise in survival and close combat. We offer long-range support and advanced technology." Mara considered him carefully. "We survive because we adapt," she said. "If we combine our strengths, perhaps we can repel this new threat. But understand this, Gamma 7 is unforgiving. Any mistake, no matter how small, can cost lives," Vale nodded. "Understood. We are prepared to follow your lead on the ground, and our fleet will coordinate with your positions and strategies." The humans and Zalari quickly began to integrate their forces. Humans taught the Zalari basic survival skills for the planet. How to move swiftly over rocky terrain, how to set traps for predators, and how to anticipate attacks. Zalari technology provided scanning and sensor coverage, energy shields for defensive positions, and communication networks linking the entire settlement with the fleet above. It was an uneasy cooperation at first. Some Zalari officers struggled to adapt to the humans' fast, unpredictable tactics. They relied on calculations and technology, while humans relied on instinct, observation, and improvisation. Conflicts arose, voices raised, and mistakes were made. But slowly, mutual respect grew. The Zalari began to see the humans' strengths not as reckless but as essential for survival on a death world. Darren, the young human engineer, led a small group of Zalari through the cliffs to reinforce traps and defensive positions. "Watch the patterns," he instructed. "The predators don't just attack, they probe, they test, they learn. You must do the same." Vale followed closely, taking notes and observing the humans' methods. He realized that adaptation was a skill in itself, learned through generations, and the humans' instincts were honed by constant survival challenges. Hours later, scouts reported the arrival of the Predator fleet in orbit. Massive ships descended slowly, their hulls black and jagged, almost organic in design. Energy pulses radiated from them, disrupting sensors and communications. The Zalari fleet responded with defensive formations, while humans prepared ground positions for when orbital bombardments became inevitable. Mara's voice cut through the comlink, calm but commanding. "Positions, focus, remember your training and your instincts. We survived together, or not at all." The first wave of predators descended toward the settlement. They were massive, faster than any species the Zalari had studied. Some dropped to the cliffs like living meteors, while others hovered in orbit, scanning and probing defenses. Humans reacted instantly, firing harpoons, activating energy nets, and guiding the predators into preset traps. The Zalari fleet provided long-range support, targeting larger threats with precision beams that disrupted predator formations. But it was the humans' instincts, their understanding of terrain and movement, that made the difference. Vile observed Mara leading a team along the cliffs. They moved like shadows, striking at precise moments, luring predators into positions where Zalari weapons could do the most damage. "Incredible," he whispered. "They anticipate everything." The battle escalated. Predators attempted to flank the humans from the mountains, using the rocky terrain as cover. Mara directed squads to intercept, relying on traps, ambushes, and quick maneuvers. The Zalari provided sensor updates, warning of incoming threats, but the humans' timing and decision-making dominated the battlefield. One Zalari soldier hesitated during a predator attack. Mara noticed immediately. "Move, don't hesitate," she shouted. The soldier followed her instructions, narrowly avoiding the predator's claws. The lesson was harsh but effective. Hesitation could cost lives. Vale realized that humans were not only strong but fearless in ways the Zalari could not emulate. Their courage was rooted in survival, their skill sharpened by constant danger. Technology alone could not match instinct. As the battle continued, Vale coordinated with Mara directly. He learned to trust her judgment, to anticipate her strategies, and to complement them with Zalari firepower. The humans guided the predators into positions where energy beams could strike without harming the settlement. Every move was a dance of precision, adaptation, and mutual trust. Hours passed, and the first wave of predators was repelled. The humans had taken some injuries, and a few Zalari had minor damages to their exosuits, but the settlement remained intact. Mara gathered her squad, breathing heavily but steady. "You survived today," she said. "You adapted. You learned. That is what matters. The next wave will be worse, faster, and smarter. Remember that, Vial approached her. We have seen your strength, your adaptability, and your courage. The galaxy underestimates your species. I will make sure that others understand what it means to survive on a death world. Mara looked at him, eyes calm but piercing. The galaxy will learn soon enough. But survival is our reward, not recognition. Remember that. We act for our lives, not for admiration. The Zalari scientists were busy analyzing predator behavior, noting patterns, learning strategies, and recording human tactics. We have underestimated them for centuries, one said. Their instincts, their coordination, it is beyond any calculated model. They are extraordinary, Vale nodded. Extraordinary indeed. And now we must prepare for the larger threat approaching from orbit. The Predator's fleet will not be deterred easily. Humans and Zalari must act as one if we are to survive. Night fell over Gamma 7, and the settlement remained vigilant. Patrols moved quietly through the cliffs. Traps were reset, and scouts reported unusual movements in the mountains. The humans' routines were precise, their discipline unwavering, and the Zalari had learned to follow without hesitation. Vile reflected on the day's lessons. The SOS they had answered was not just a call for help. It was a test, an invitation to witness the ultimate survival skills of a Deathworlder species. Humans had shown that courage, adaptability, and instinct could surpass technology. That true strength came from facing danger constantly and refusing to yield. In orbit, the Zalari fleet prepared for the next phase. Ships adjusted formations, shields were reinforced, and weapon systems calibrated. The humans had proven themselves in ground combat, and Vial now knew that the survival of Gamma 7 depended on their unique skills. Mara addressed her people one final time before the night deepened. Rest when you can, train when you must. The predators will return. The storm will rage. But we endure. That is our way. And now we have allies who understand the value of survival. Treat them well. Teach them what you can. Vial watched her, feeling respect and gratitude. The humans had taken a species that had come to help and had turned the lesson back on them. They were not fragile. They were not weak. They were Deathworlders, capable of facing impossible odds and thriving. And beyond the planet in the shadows of orbit, the Predator fleet had taken note. They sensed the alliance forming below. Humans were not just survivors, they were warriors, strategists, and adaptable fighters. The coming battle would test both humans and Zalari like never before, and the galaxy itself would soon witness the power of a Deathworlder species united with allies who respected their strength. Vial felt a quiet determination settle over him. The SOS brought us here, he said softly. But the real lesson is clear. Survival is earned, courage is proven, and adaptability is strength. Gamma 7 will teach us all this, and together humans and Zalari will face whatever comes next. The night passed, quiet but tense. Scouts reported distant movements. Predators were gathering, likely preparing for a larger offensive. The humans and Zalari had forged a tentative alliance, built on necessity and mutual respect. The galaxy's future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Deathworlders were not to be underestimated. Tomorrow would bring the true test. And strategy to survive. The sky above Gamma 7 burned with the glow of incoming Predator ships. Dark silhouettes moved across the clouds, massive and menacing, radiating energy that made the ground hum beneath the humans' feet. The Zalari fleet in orbit adjusted formations, shields shimmering faintly against the approaching threat. Captain Mara stood on the central tower, scanning the horizon with sharp eyes. Her squad surrounded her, each member tense but ready. Commander Vial joined her, antennae twitching as he assessed the situation. They are larger than our scan suggested, Vial said. Their numbers are significant. We cannot face them with technology alone. Your people must lead on the ground. Mara's expression was calm, unwavering. We survive here because we adapt, Commander. We turn danger into advantage, and today, you will see why Deathworlders are feared across the galaxy. The first wave of Predator ships descended toward the settlement. Massive claws extended from their hulls. Energy pulses fired at irregular intervals, and their movements were deliberate, almost intelligent. Mara gave her squad the signal, and humans moved instantly, slipping into the terrain like shadows, setting traps, and guiding predators into kill zones. The Zalari fleet fired from orbit, energy beams cutting through the sky with precision, but Vial knew that the real difference would be made on the ground. Humans moved swiftly, coordinating without words, their instincts guiding them. Darren led a group along the cliffs, dropping weighted nets and activating energy barriers. "Remember," he said, "they test us constantly. React, adapt, and survive. Hesitation is death." The predators lunged at the humans, claws raking stone and metal, but humans turned every attack into an opportunity. They used the terrain, their traps, and each other's positioning to control the battlefield. The Zalari provided long-range cover, but humans determined the flow of combat. Baal watched, amazed. "They are not just fighting," he whispered to his deputy. "They are dancing with the threat, anticipating, adjusting, dominating." One predator broke through a barrier, charging directly at a group of humans. Mara ran forward, signaling to two squads. They split, drawing the creature into a narrow canyon lined with spikes and traps. It lunged blindly, only to be caught by energy nets and immobilized by combined strikes. Vael's heart raced. Humans were not afraid of the predators. They thrived in the danger, using every instinct, every skill, and every tactic honed by the Deathworld. The battle escalated. Predator ships dropped more creatures onto the cliffs. Mara divided her squad, sending some to flank, others to defend vulnerable positions, and a few to lure predators toward Zalari firepower. The Zalari were impressed. Humans coordinated movements that their technology alone could not anticipate. "Observe their efficiency," one Zalari officer murmured. "They turn chaos into control. Every movement has purpose," Vael nodded. "They are the ultimate survival species. And now they are showing us why the galaxy underestimates them at its peril." A massive predator landed near the settlement's energy core, attempting to disrupt defenses. Humans reacted instantly. Darren triggered a hidden mechanism, dropping a net to entangle the creature. Mara herself led a squad to strike from above, guiding energy blasts from Zalari ships to hit at precise points. The predator struggled, but the combination of human skill and Zalari technology overcame it. Vael realized something vital. Humans were not just capable of survival. They were the galaxy's perfect allies against threats that relied on raw power or sheer numbers. Their adaptability, coordination, and courage could turn the tide even in seemingly impossible battles. Hours passed. The Predator fleet launched wave after wave of attacks, but humans and Zalari adjusted continuously. Mara anticipated moves before they happened. Humans set traps before Predators could react, and Zalari beams struck where needed. It was a perfect fusion of instinct and technology. Vael coordinated with Mara directly. "Their numbers are overwhelming. We need a decisive move." Mara considered briefly, then gave a calm order. "Draw them into the valley east of the cliffs. It is narrow, surrounded by jagged peaks. There, their numbers become a weakness. Lead them in and we control the battlefield." The humans and Zalari set their positions. Energy barriers, nets, spikes, and Zalari beams created a deadly maze. As the Predators advanced, they realized too late that they had been funneled into the trap. Every movement was anticipated. Every attack was countered. Vael felt a surge of pride and awe. Humans had turned the planet's dangers into advantages. The Predators were being defeated not by brute force but by adaptability, intelligence, and unyielding courage. Darren and his squad guided the final Predators into position. Mara signaled, and Zalari beams cut through the sky, striking at critical points. Energy nets immobilized those that remained, and the survivors fled back to orbit. The battle was over. Gamma 7 was safe for now. Humans and Zalari stood together, breathing heavily, surveying the aftermath. The cliffs were scarred, some structures damaged, but the settlement remained intact. Humans had proven once again why they survived on a death world. Vael approached Mara, antennae twitching with respect. "Your species, your courage, your adaptability, it surpasses anything we imagined. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long." Mara's expression was calm but firm. "We survive because we must. We thrive because we learn. Recognition is irrelevant. What matters is that we endure, that we protect our home, and that we are ready for what comes next." Vael nodded. "Then the galaxy must learn from this. You have shown that strength is not only in numbers or technology, but in courage, adaptability, and the will to endure. Your people are the true warriors of a death world." The humans and Zalari began to coordinate repairs and reinforce defenses, preparing for potential future threats. Vael realized that this partnership was more than a temporary alliance. It was a foundation for something greater. Humans and Zalari together could face any challenge. combining instinct, courage, and technology in perfect harmony. As night fell over the jagged cliffs and storm-tossed valleys, Vielle gazed at the settlement. The humans moved quietly, resetting traps, patrolling perimeters, and tending to the wounded. Even in rest, they were alert, prepared for the next wave of threats. Darren approached Vielle. "You understand now, don't you? Gamma 7 is not forgiving. We survive because we adapt, and we fight because we must. You came thinking we needed your help, but in truth, we all need to learn from each other." Vielle smiled faintly. "Indeed, your courage and skill are unmatched. And today you have taught us what it truly means to be a warrior." In orbit, the Zilari fleet began scanning for remnants of the Predator forces. Some ships had been destroyed, others retreated to the depths of space. But Vielle knew that the galaxy contained many threats, and the humans' abilities could turn the tide in countless conflicts to come. Mara gathered her squad in the central hall. "Today we survived," she said. "We faced impossible odds, adapted, and overcame. Tomorrow there may be new dangers, but remember this. Strength is measured not by what we can destroy, but by what we can endure and overcome together." Vielle addressed the humans and Zilari alike. "The SOS brought us here. What we found was not weakness, but extraordinary strength. The humans of Gamma 7 are unmatched in courage, skill, and adaptability. Together we will face whatever comes next, and the galaxy will remember that underestimating a Deathworlder species is a grave mistake." For the first time, the Zilari truly understood the concept of a Deathworlder. These humans had lived in impossible conditions, faced predators far stronger than themselves, and yet emerged victorious, day after day, generation after generation. Their instincts, courage, and adaptability had been honed into a weapon more powerful than any fleet alone. Vielle realized that this alliance was not temporary. It was the beginning of a new era. The Zilari would carry the lessons of Gamma 7 across the galaxy, teaching others that strength comes in many forms, and that courage and adaptability can surpass technology, numbers, and fear. As the night deepened, the storm subsided slightly, leaving Gamma 7 bathed in a faint, eerie glow from the moons above. The humans maintained their patrols, ready for any threat. The Zilari fleet remained in orbit, ready to provide support if needed. Vielle looked at Mara. "Your species will be remembered, not for calling an SOS, but for showing the galaxy the true meaning of strength. Courage, adaptation, and willpower. These are your weapons, and today, they have saved not only Gamma 7, but potentially the galaxy itself." Mara nodded. "We do not fight for recognition. We fight because we must. But perhaps now, the galaxy will understand what it means to face Deathworlders." In the distance, the retreating Predator fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, but Vielle knew that this victory was only the beginning. The lessons learned on Gamma 7, the alliance, the strategies, and the humans' unparalleled skills, would shape future battles across the stars. For now, the SOS had been answered. Humans and Zilari had fought together, survived, and adapted. The galaxy would never underestimate Deathworlders again. Gamma 7 remained wild, dangerous, and unforgiving. But humanity had shown that even in the harshest conditions, life could endure, adapt, and overcome. And Inelp had arrived, but because the humans, true Deathworlders,